Beloved Madridistas, welcome back to the channel. Okay, let's talk about the Villareal Real Madrid, the 4-4 yesterday. Listen, these games don't matter much, but I think that there are really important takeaways at the individual player level that I think we need to discuss. So I want to talk about Arda. I love this kid. This kid's ridiculously good. He's an assassin. We're going to talk about Luka Modric. We're going to talk about Militao. Also Rudiger and Ceballos, because these matches, it does tell us a little bit about player form, etc. So I think it's important to talk about it, and I'll tell you guys about the next video that I'll do based on your comments in the comments section. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for being with me again. Let's get started. All right, Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, so let's talk about yesterday's match. We'll just do it very quickly, kind of chronologically, and then we'll talk about individual players. Listen, the first kind of 10, 12 minutes, we were a little bit cold, a little bit sloppy, kind of losing a few long balls here and there. So it felt like we were kind of, a little bit lackluster, just in the very first few minutes. Now, all of that changed with the Arda Guller goal, which was a phenomenal goal, and I'm sure most of you guys watched it, but his first control was exquisite, and his finish is fantastic. Okay, now there are some things that players practice finishing, etc., and players can always improve, but some players are just born with it. They're born with a fearlessness and a killer instinct that is very hard to teach, and this kid is not scared of anything. I think he's wonderful. For my Turkish subscribers out there, you guys are so lucky because this kid is fantastic. But I found that after the first Arda goal, we really got into a beautiful flow. I mean, the football we played in the first half was just, when nothing is on the line, you play this uninhibited football where it's just free-flowing, very quick, first passes. Players tend to be more adventurous. It was just absolutely beautiful. I think all of our individual skill was on display. It was really a beautiful thing to watch. The second Joselu goal came very, very quickly. A beautiful cross by Lucas Vázquez, a fantastic sort of soft header by Joselu. It looked like it was possibly offside, but it wasn't. It was just a simple goal, but sometimes kind of the simple things are the hardest things to do in football, but it was just a magnificent goal. At this point, I have to mention, the ball movement was excellent. I think Luka Modric had an exceptional first half, and we're going to talk about him because he was phenomenal. Now, when we were up 0-2 and Villareal scored, the 1-2. This was kind of a critical mistake by Ceballos. I've been very critical of him for sometimes. If you've seen my previous videos, he tends to hold the ball a bit too long in dangerous areas. He tends to risk the ball in dangerous areas. So that was just a mistake. So we went, Villareal converted the 1-2. But our response was very, very quick. Lucas Vázquez scored the 3-1, well, the 1-3, with a beautiful shot with his bad foot, with his left foot. But I think, again, gives you a bit of a glimpse of the individual quality that we have. Every single player on this squad has so much technical skill. It's just phenomenal. And then the first half was closed out with, again, a wonderful goal by Arda. He moves into space very intelligently, just avoiding the offsides. And then when you think he has no angle to finish, he finds it with an incredibly precise shot with the left. This kid can kill you with both feet. It's phenomenal. Now, in the second half, obviously, Villareal came out with a lot of intensity, and at this point, we started to kind of slow down. And at this point, it really kind of, this is the bad side of matches where not too much is on the line, that you tend to lack intensity, and we just weren't able to match Villareal's intensity. I think the second goal of Villareal, I think Rudiger's defending was quite poor. I think he was a little bit soft. In the third goal that Villareal scored, by the way, Sorloth had a phenomenal match. This Norwegian striker's getting a lot of attention, and I think well-deserved. He's a really, really good striker. He could have had a fifth as well. In the third goal, I think Militao, again, was quite soft. And And I think that even in the fourth goal, Militao, was just really not where he needed to be. Yeah, if you guys watch the fourth Villareal goal, Militao has two options in that play. He can either intercept the pass as it goes to Sorloth, or you can stay in front of the player and make sure you block the shot if he does receive the ball. But you have to do one of the two. What you cannot do is neither, because that's basically what Militao did. He allowed Sorloth to receive the ball and then allowed him to shoot. So Militao had a particularly poor match, and we're going to talk about it now. Then you had some changes. Fede and Militao came out, Nacho and Camavinga came in. And then Rodrigo subsequently came in, and I think at the 81st minute, caused a lot of danger, hit the post, etc. But this was a tale of two halves. We played a magnificent, free-flowing first half. And then we just fell asleep and couldn't keep up with Villarreal's intensity and very, very sloppy defending. I don't blame Lunin, and let me just mention this. I don't think the goals were Lunin's fault. He had one spectacular save with his fingertips. I don't think that any of the goals were Lunin's fault. I do blame them on Rudiger and Militao. And then it was really, really nice to see the standing ovation that Villareal gave Luka Modric when he was substituted. Now, this is happening in every stadium in Spain. I think that those football supporters who really understand the sport and have respect for legacy and history, they are honoring Luka Modric in every stadium in this country when he is substituted, and it's a really beautiful thing to see because. Luka is a legend. I think he showed us in the first half why we're fortunate to keep him around next year, because he can give you incredible minutes if you use him at the right time. So that was really wonderful to see. Now, listen, in terms of individual players, look, we have to talk about Arda, okay? This kid has scored 6 goals in 350 minutes, okay? I mean, it's an extraordinary tally, and he shows us every time he plays that he is not afraid in front of goal. This kid was born with a killer instinct. That's why in my thumbnail I call him an assassin. It's really, really wonderful. Don't be surprised if Arda gets a few minutes in the final, which would be an incredible thing, I think, for his development. Depending on how the match goes, don't be surprised, because if you need a goal, this kid has proven that he can give you goals. So I'm really, really excited about it. All the headlines here are talking about him. All the YouTubers, everyone is talking about Arda. This is one of the most compelling young players I've seen in a very, very long time. Secondly, Luka Modric, as I mentioned, he put on a clinic in the first half. I mean, he was just, his mobility, his vision, his passing. It was just wonderful to see, and I'm really happy that he is staying on. I discussed in my previous video my concerns about making sure Brahim and Arda get minutes, but because of all the other things going on with Nacho, Tchouaméni, etc., I do think that we're going to have plenty of minutes in the midfield to use Luka in really key situations without necessarily taking minutes away from Arda and Brahim, etc. But Modric was fantastic, and it's just wonderful to see his contribution. Okay, we need to talk about Militao, and this concerns me a lot. Okay, Militao was a wonderful, world-class center back, but he's having trouble recovering from this injury. He's only played 4 or 5 games since he's come back, but there is definitely something missing. Okay, he's slow, he's not well positioned. He's not very resounding in you have to be powerful and compelling and uncompromising when you play that position. But he feels very tentative to me. He feels soft. And again, even his concentration is just not there, because some of the mistakes he makes, I think, seem physical, but some of them also seem mental in terms of where to be, his alertness, his level of concentration. So Militao, unfortunately, is just not where he needs to be. Don't expect him in the final. Do not expect him in the final. Rudiger, I'll just mention this briefly. We love Rudiger. He's had an incredible year, and I think right now you can make the case that he's the best center back in the world. But yesterday he was a little bit off. He was just a little soft. What makes Rudiger so compelling as a defender is that he's so hard in his tackles, in his physical confrontation. There's a physicality about him that it was kind of lacking yesterday. Okay, I found him a little bit soft. Now, I don't know if he's trying to make sure he doesn't get injured or But his foot was definitely off the gas. Now, I forgive him, and I know that this, if the game had a lot of importance, he would not have played this way. So I'm not reading too much into it, and I don't think you guys should either. But I did find Rudiger soft, and I did find him responsible for one or two of the goals. Okay, in terms of players, we also have to mention Ceballos. He's had such a poor season, and I've been critical of him in previous videos this year, but there is something wrong. Ceballos is just, the same criticisms I mentioned before. He's holding up the ball too long. He's dribbling in the wrong areas. He's risking the ball in places he shouldn't. And it's just, some of it is decision making. Some of it is just sloppy technique. But Ceballos is just not the player. He's not making the contributions he did the last couple of years. And, frankly, those Ceballos minutes, we have to give to other players. We have to give them to Arda, and we have to give them to players like Brahim. He still has 2 or 3 years left in his contract, but, if we can find an exit for him, I would strongly suggest that we do so. And I don't mean to be cruel, but, we have to call a spade here, and Ceballos is just not at the level to play at Real Madrid. So, listen, those are my thoughts on yesterday's match. Listen, I'll also mention, in my next video, you guys, I love reading the comment section, and I read every single one. I mean, I can't answer all of them, but I read every single one. And it sounds to me like you guys really want me to do the video on EFDS, English Football Delusion Syndrome, which permeates so much of the football media. So based on your comments, I'll try to put that one out tomorrow. I might play around with the thumbnail, so it may not look like this, but I will address it. I think it's going to be really funny, and we're gonna have a little fun with this. But listen, thank you guys for joining me again. I really appreciate you guys joining the channel, your comments, and everything else. So I love all of you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video. A la Madrid.